Well, Neil, another busy week. What are your final thoughts on Tuesday night's game against Halifax?
Yeah, I thought we started a little bit nervous and flat. I thought the first sort of 15, 20 minutes were like that, and a few little sort of scares from them where we got things wrong. But I think sometimes when we get things wrong, we're getting them wrong, trying to get them right. If that makes sense, it's not through a lack of effort, it's just through sometimes a little bit of apprehension. But yeah, I thought once we got through that first 25 minutes, I thought the second part of the first half we were very good, had two great chances, and I thought for most of the second half we were the team really trying to win the game. And sometimes where you are, you go from feeling like you're not going to lose to wondering where the win goes from, and that's momentum. It's a massive thing in sport, and we all we can do, and all I can do is just keep chipping away, keep going, and one could turn into two, that could turn into three, and that's the only way you need to look at the teams in and around us. That's what's happened with them, and it's a big thing.
You mentioned after the game we were hoping to bring two, maybe three potentially bodies in. We managed to get two in the shape of Josh and Charlie, two very different backgrounds in football so far in their careers. Talk about what the process was of bringing them in.
Yeah, so a few weeks back, we obviously looked after Jacob's injury, and we knew we might not have Jacob back till at best the last couple of weeks of the season. And we was looking ahead to all the games we had coming up, and then Timmy got injured, and all of a sudden we had two sort of out and out centre halves with maybe Mossy that could slide in there if necessary. So we started looking for a centre back. Trying to find a centre half is difficult. Trying to find one that could play in the trophy should, because obviously Chin's suspended for the trophy, so all of a sudden we only really had one for that. It was even more difficult. So there was loads of challenges with it, but Simon, Jody, myself kept looking, and we got Charlie flagged to us. He'd left Scotland in January, so there was lots of positives to that. So we had him in. We had him in training to have a good look at him, and we liked what we saw. And beautiful left foot, really sort of highly thought of at Spurs as a youngster. And sometimes you have these players that just sort of go in. He's had an experience in Scotland that hasn't quite worked out. But sometimes you have these players who have got the ability. They just need to have somebody to give them the opportunity. And with our situation, we could have been the perfect fit for him.
And Josh?
Yeah, Josh was, as we know, he's you look back at his career, and Jody's alluded to it in his comments, where you've got this young, hungry player who's desperate to play at the highest level, and he's got something that I don't care what level you play at, is something special that hurts people, which is searing pace. And as you know, without Wardy around, that's something that we miss. So we was looking for that quality, a wide player who could beat people 1v1, who had real pace, real athleticism, and Josh had that. And Jody brought him to our attention. We watched, we liked what we saw. We made an approach, and typical of the lad, he's so keen to play at the highest level and prove himself that he was desperate. So we're really delighted we've got that one over the line.
It's only been a few days, but is there any further injury updates or potential returns from any of the players?
Yeah, well, we've got some sort of good news and some bad news. Aidan O'Brien's progressed really, really well. He's just finishing off the final pieces of his rehab now, which sort of takes him into sprint work when you've had a hamstring. That's important. The strength test of the hamstring is done now. It's all about, can he get his maximum speed back up? So that might be good as far as if he can get a 4 weeks training next week, he comes back into the fold. Touch wood, that all works out well. But then Denon came off on Saturday at Wildstone, and looks like he's sort of re-injured on an ultrasound scan. He's one of his old injuries, which could put him out for quite a number of weeks. And with where we are in the season, that doesn't look good. So yes, a sort of little bit contradictory, good and bad there.
You mentioned before they're all big games at this stage of the season. Another big one for us tomorrow against Braintree. We, as you mentioned the other day, it took a little while to get into the game, and then once we had progressed up the pitch and even had a throw in up the other end of the pitch, it was a big cheer from the fans, and we get going. How important is the fans feed off the players, but the players also feed off the fans?
Yeah, it's a two-way thing, but it starts with the players. The fans can't cheer things that aren't there. That's false. The fans need things to excite them, for them to cheer, and we've got to try and bring that. It's when you go through a little sticky spell, which I did allude to early on when we was going unbeaten, that they're around the corner in any level of football. We've seen it at the top level in the Premier League. So, there's a number of things that go into any performance. One's a confidence, momentum. There's all these things that can make a difference, and it's not with us at the moment. Them things, so we have to fight it and work through it. So the fans can sort of help support us through that. That's great. But in the same vein, we've got to try and generate it ourselves, and we always have to start off with, especially now where we are, we need to respect the opposition. They're in good form. We need to, whoever we play, they're in good form, and we need to sort of make sure that we're not trying to play catch up and behind. We need to make sure our defensive structure is good. We're at that nitty gritty stage of the season, and if you're not scoring 3 and 4 goals every week, you've got to make sure you're not conceding 1 or 2, because it's going to become hard to get the wins you need. So I think that was a little bit of what happened on Tuesday night, making sure our defensive shape was right before we attacked. Obviously, we want to try and do both at the same time quite quickly on in games and get our noses in front. But yeah, players have certainly got to try and generate it for the fans.
Brilliant. Thank you, Neil. We'll see you tomorrow.
Cheers.